So many great moments, standout moments from the 2024 season as a whole. Not enough time for all of them. Here are some of the most memorable. How about Nick Dunlap winning the American Express to become the first AM to win on the PGA Tour since Phil back in '91, and he won again in July at the Barracuda to become the first player since 1945 to win as an amateur and a professional in the same season on tour. At the age 29 days, was the youngest winner in tournament history and is the youngest AM to win on PGA Tour since 1931, and the win moved him to number one in the World Amateur Golf ranking. One day after that ranking was released, we know he turned professional, and maybe he's going to be a captain's pick for the President's Cup.
2 wins, 1 paycheck. Well, the final round of the Players' Championship in this year brought a highlight as well. One of the great little par 4s at TPC Sawgrass, the 4th hole. Scottie Scheffler, when he's doing that, it's kind of hard to beat him. And you see his caddy, Ted Scott, holding up the 6 fingers. That was his 6th hole out of the year. Man. Nice when you can keep count of stuff like that.
Yeah, it is probably reaching double digits. How about Peter Malnati winning the Valspar for his first win on tour in more than 8 years? Shot that final round 67 to finish at 12 under at Innisbrook and beat Cameron Young by a couple shots. Had the family's kid with the Superman cape. Just a wonderful, wonderful, emotional win.
Well, Xander Schauffele won the first major of his career in record fashion at Valhalla, the PGA Championship. 21 under par, beat Bryson DeChambeau by a single stroke. Began the week with a round of 62. That set the PGA single round scoring record, and he held or shared the lead for each of the first 3 days.
RBC Canadian Open, Robert MacIntyre, some call him Bob, won the event for his first PGA Tour victory, 16 under. His father, Doogie, was his caddy. Rounds of 64, 66, had the lead through 36 holes, took a 4-shot lead, and won by a shot over Ben Griffin. His dad's a greenskeeper back in Oban, Scotland. What a moment.
And after he'd finished partying on that one, he had another reason. The Genesis Scottish Open 22-footer in the final hole. That beat Adam Scott by a single stroke and became the first Scot to win his National Open since Colin Montgomery back in 1999. He also made an eagle on the 16th hole Sunday that got a break when he got a free drop because he was standing on a sprinkler head, of course. But it all contributed to one of the great summers in this game.
No doubt. And a not-so-great moment. Rory McIlroy suffering that heartbreaking loss at the U.S. Open, missing the short par putts on the 16th hole. Then here, the slider on 18, finishing second to Bryson. Tough to watch. He withdrew from the Travelers before it began, saying he needed to take a few weeks off before returning to competition.
Sticking with that U.S. Open at Pinehurst, with the potential playoff looming, Bryson DeChambeau got out of this greenside bunker on the 18th hole, followed it up with something a little bit longer than a tap-in, and that was the second major victory of DeChambeau's career, his second U.S. Open title.
And took that trophy into the night around the grounds, letting the fans touch it, celebrating that second National Open. How about Xander Schauffele winning the Open for his second major of the season? That final round 65 at Royal Troon to beat Billy Horschel and Justin Rose by a couple of shots. How about this incredible dart into 11. Took the lead for good with consecutive birdies at 13 and 14 to get to 8 under. Second final round 65 to win a major this year.
Schauffele, Scheffler, quite a lot of trophies this year. And this was Scottie putting a bow on an exceptional 2024, winning the Tour Championship yesterday, the FedEx Cup, his 7th win of a golden season that included an Olympic medal.
I tell you what, a lot of great moments. Bobby MacIntyre winning your first PGA Tour event with your dad on the bag, and then you go home to Scotland and win your National Open.
He's never going to have to buy a drink in a bar in Scotland for the rest of his life.
Right. I mean, listen, Scottie had more wins. Xander won 2 majors. But is anybody happier than the year they had than Robert McIntyre? Just from a, warming the cockles of your heart type of season.
It really was. But, I mean, if I had to pick them, to me, the moment of the season that's most memorable, in a way, it's probably 2. I think DeChambeau at Pinehurst was one of those moments because he emerged again as, I think, arguably the most engaging / polarizing figure in the game. People either love him or hate him, but he gets fans interested. And we saw that at Pinehurst. And part of the reason why he gets fans interested is this sort of incessant problem-solving approach that he takes to everything. And we saw that a month later at Troon when he tried to figure out yet again the puzzle of links golf. Couldn't manage to do that and missed the cut. And I suppose it's a commentary on where the game is these days, that the most engaging figure in the game, after missing the cut that Friday at Troon, disappears for 9 months because the audience that is engaged by him has not followed him to live golf. So the next time they are going to see Bryson in any kind of competitive setting of skill is going to be at the Masters next April.
He is box office. When the light shines on him, he is ready to perform. And wasn't there a sense, at least I felt it, at Pinehurst, and even with negotiations going on, whether they're going quickly or going slowly between the PGA Tour and PIF, that was a live golfer versus a PGA Tour golfer in Rory, who has been and had been a kind of a spokesman for the PGA Tour. And you know that there are people in their living rooms in Idaho and New York City and San Diego that were saying, ooh, this is juicy, this is tasty because it's Rory and it's Bryson.
I actually felt that there was less of that this year than there was previously. I mean, definitely for a lot of people, I do think there was that sentiment because Bryson's been a fairly outspoken advocate for his tour as Rory McIlroy has been on his. I actually thought there was more of a sentiment like that at St Andrews 2 years ago because everyone knew Cam Smith was jumping to live a week later after that crushing defeat of Rory McIlroy at St Andrews that week. So I actually thought as though it's somewhat diminished, and it certainly hasn't. It didn't lessen the theatre of what we were watching at all. It added a little bit of extra friction that really just, I do think it was probably the most dramatic event of the year. I can't think of anything else that comes anywhere close in terms of the number of competing storylines that we had. Also happens to be on a hell of a great golf course.
Yeah, I wasn't on the ground at the Masters in 1996 when Greg Norman lost that 6-shot lead, but there were echoes of that with Rory, just in terms of the crushing disappointment, the camera on him in the scoring area as he waited to find out his fate that had no longer been in his hands, was now in the hands of Bryson DeChambeau, the camera following him, making, tracks in the parking lot and zooming away. And you got to think that a lot of the people on the ground and at home wanted Rory McIlroy to get over the threshold once and for all, what has been now a decade-long chase to add a 5th major championship.
And, of course, he came so close to the US Open last year at LA Country Club as well. But as he said at the time, he would go through another 100 Sundays like that one just to pick up another trophy. And I'm sure that's what the goal is in 2025. But like Bryson, he's got another few months to wait before he actually gets that opportunity.
If you carry a pen and a notebook and a computer like you and I are wont to do, it's been a pretty juicy 2024 season.